lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me.
Texas, we come to the Midwest in Iowa for the Western States Racing League round number 7 of season 46. Tony Trapasso up in the booth with you tonight, joined with me by my partner in crime, the man, the myth, the living legend over on the ones and twos. That, of course, would be Mr. Dave Regal. And Dave, tonight's broadcast being brought to the folks by Premier Racing Setups, founded back in 2017 by Richard Murtaugh. They have setups for everything in the iRacing servers, and they're pretty darn good setups at that. So if you need a setup for your league, PremierRacingSetups.com is where you need to go. But Dave, at the issue at hand right now, qualifying underway as Daryl Scott goes for a wild one coming off of 4. Anyone want to guess who's at the top of the scoring pylon as of right now?
I'm going to go with probably our points leader, Bentley Glazer.
Absolutely, and you bring up a good point. Bentley Glazer actually tied right now in the points lead. Ryan Steele, after coming home on the podium last week, is now tied with Glazer for that points lead. We saw Steele have a couple of good runs at the beginning of the season. He had the points lead after the first round, and he's right there in the slugfest with the 3-time defending champion. Jeff Schmeier, 14 points back. Carl Burke sitting 4th in points. And Brian Barnes rounding out your top 5. So, some new names, but pretty much the usual suspects at the front of this piece right now.
Absolutely, and after a week off, the Western States Racing League is back, and we're about to embark here on their 40th points race here at Iowa Speedway. And quite frankly, when you talk about the usual suspects, I've got my eye closely trained on Bentley Glazer and his number 87 Chevrolet, as he won their fall race last season in season 45 here at Iowa Speedway. And I mean, there's a lot of different positioning here with Stephen Baird in the 03 Toyota in 21st, but back here we have Dennis Fuson currently 8th atop the leaderboard, Brian Barnes in 4th, driving his number 4. But as we all just talked about here, Bentley Glazer sits atop the leaderboard right now in qualifying.
Yeah, he absolutely does. With just a little bit of a gap right now, about 1/100th of a second over the 53 of Burke. Jeff Hollingsworth is right there as well, sitting in 3rd. And Brian Barnes in 4th, with Charles Woods rounding out your top 5. As we do have a handful of drivers that still have yet to lay one down in the qualifying session. Fred Williams, Angelo Espo, Jeff Schmeier, Richard McClure, Barry Phil, Scott Kukas, Keith Kellman, Eric Woods, and Anthony Reiner. A couple of new names here tonight, so it's going to be something to see how that one plays out. A couple of new names, couple of returning names that we haven't seen in a little bit of time, as Dave Rudd makes his return to the league in the number 45 tonight. But Rainier in the 80, and that is a new name to the league. Gary Johnson driving the 16 tonight. That is a name that I do not recognize. So, relatively new driver there. As Stephen Baird, who we haven't seen in a little bit of time, driving the 03 Toyota tonight. As, again, we are just waiting on, and there we go. Schmeier starting to roll it for his first qualifying lap, getting up to speed pretty quickly there. And Schmeier loose is all get out coming through 2. Cold tires, not your friend here tonight. As while we're waiting for Schmeier to reset and re-rack it, let's take a quick look at the weather, Dave. As little bit of time to kill here.
Yeah, things look pretty nice here in Iowa tonight with 77 degrees your outdoor temperature, and that track temperature itself is 79 degrees here in Newton, Iowa. And partly cloudy, so that'll keep things pretty much under control as far as temperature goes. We'll probably not see the track temperature change all too much, and that wind at just barely a breath at 2 mile an hour as we're getting ourselves set here for the beginning of some fantastic racing from Iowa Speedway. And one of the things, Tony, that we talk about is tire wear, and this track is low and it's not real high banked, but at the same time, it seems like this is still going to be a tire wear kind of race. There's a lot of guys running that top line in practice earlier, and we still saw a couple of people with the rear end of those trucks spinning out, but I think we're going to see a lot of throttle control and a lot of people trying to make do with, limited tire changes.
Well, they're going to have to be limited because they're going to be doing 160 laps here tonight, and they've got 4 sets of tires total to get them through all 160 laps. So if you break that up, into fours, we're looking about every 40 laps they can change tires. Should we stay green? And they do have 1 fast repair in their pocket tonight, so some of these guys are going to be pit farming early, knowing that there's going to be carnage as the closing laps happen here at Iowa, as qualifying getting ready to wind on down. Schmeier on his one and only flyer, able to go 17th quick. He's going to be starting back there in row 9 with Ryan Steele. So 2 of your top 3 in points starting deep in the mid-pack.
And your starting grid has, of course, as seems to be pretty usual since I've stepped into the booth here, Bentley Glazer and his number 87 Chevrolet on the inside of row 1, P1, with Carl Burke in the number 53 Chevrolet in P2. Jeff Hollingsworth sits in 3rd position in his number 97 Chevrolet. Brian Barnes in 4th position in the number 4 Popsicle car. Charles Woods in the number 40 U.S. Postal Service Chevrolet. Andre E. Savala is going to be rolling off in 6th position. Julian Richie in that number 1 machine rolling off 7th. Dennis Fuson in the 11 car starting in 8th. Bob Beltrami is in the number 14 as his tradition. And William Fletcher rounds out your top 10.
Row number 6 is going to give us Kyle McCartney and Wayne Hutchinson. Rob Gall and Earl Weaver rolling off in row 7. Row number 8, we see Christian Bishop, a new name to the league. He's going to be joined with the 62 of Daryl Scott as he makes his return. They are rolling off in row 8. Row 9, 2 of your top 3 in points right now. Jeff Schmeier in the double deuce and the 12 of Ryan Steele. That is row number 9. Row 10 is going to see Eric Woods and Paul Crumrine. An interesting note before we start rolling them. Hats off to Brittany Crumrine, Paul's daughter, as she finished in the bronze position in the Minnesota State Gymnastics Championships just last weekend.
Well, congratulations to Paul Crumrine's daughter there as we look here at number 24. Javier Perez Torres rolling off in 21st. James Campbell on his outside in 22nd. David Weaver in the number 20 Chevrolet. Stephen Baird in 24th. Timmy Bates in 25th. Dave Rudd, Sam Johnson, Jeffrey Schloss in the 023 Toyota. Alan Bergen, Gary Johnson rounding out your top 30.
Row number 16 goes to Keith Kelman and Angelo Espo. Row number 17 gives us Barry Phil and Scott Kukas as he returns to the league. Richard McClure, Fred Williams in row 18, and starting shotgun on the field in the 37th position, Anthony Reiner. As the field starts to roll it behind the Chevy Silverado pace truck, the official pace truck of iRacing, lights are getting ready to go out this time by 160 laps, the scheduled distance. Again, 4 sets of tires to get it done with. So the set of tires that they qualified on is the same set of tires they have to start the race on, and then they've got 3 reserve sets in their pocket here tonight.
And an exciting race as we see those pace car lights are off. And we take a look here at this number 87 Gatorade machine as Bentley Glazer is eyeing up yet another win here for the Western States Racing League. As we are getting ready to go green, the guys are heading down the back stretch here into turn 3 with that iRacing pace truck getting ready to make the dive off and head down for pit row.
Absolutely. Glazer setting his 4th pole of the season in race number 7. As they work their way off at turn number 4, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness. Grandpa, pop a Viagra pill because it's time to get it on in Iowa.
And we see Bentley Glazer making himself a good start here at the beginning of this race with Jeff Hollingsworth and Carl Burke in 2nd and 3rd respectively, as they are now 3 wide behind him with the number 4 car, Brian Barnes, right in the middle of that mess. And they have gotten themselves quite a knot here at the beginning of this race, which is something that we don't usually see as we tick off for lap number 2. These guys usually give themselves a little bit of room, but it seems like there's a sense of urgency tonight on the track as we have one driver down, Dave Rudd, leaving pit lane now, who will now be starting a lap down.
Uh-oh.
And we have our first caution of the night, and it looks like Angelo Espo has himself a little bit of an issue here, and we'll take a look.
The 22 of Jeff Schmeier doing qualifying, and Espo absolutely nowhere to go, catches a race truck to the face, and then a little bit of net code involved there with the 00 truck, which is actually being scored as the 36 here tonight. And again, this is why we don't let tech officials drink before they hand out the transponders. So Alan Bergen is the one that finished Gary Johnson off, and then Scott Kukas, unfortunately, trying to avoid the carnage, chose wrong and tags Espo and then eats the inside wall.
Well, and unfortunately, that's something that I think hopefully we don't see too many more times tonight. But that seems to be a trouble spot, as we had seen during practice earlier tonight, where, you know, you can come through there, and if you just barely twitch your foot on that throttle, you're going to come all the way around, as we just saw that take effect there. Shouldn't be seeing anybody coming down pit lane here, as we've only got 4 laps and now 5 as we cross the start-finish line under caution tonight here in Iowa. So still very early in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the reason that we're seeing so much trouble coming off of 2 is because the transition from the turn 2 banking onto the back straightaway, it's a little more violent than it is coming off of 4 onto the front chute. You know, and that's kind of what's catching people out right now, is that bump in the transition, and the fact that it's a decreasing radius turn off of 2. So as you exit the corner, that flat wall it comes up quick, and guys are trying to be mindful of that to keep these vehicles off the wall. And, you know, cold tires in a relatively warm night. I mean, it's not the hottest we've ever seen it, but, you know, expect that track temperature to be dropping as the race progresses here, as Yeah, Glazer, Hollingsworth, Burke, Woods, Savelia, Barnes, Fuson, Richie, Beltrami, and Will Fletcher running out your top 10 right now, as we should see lights out on the pace car next time by.
Yeah, it seems like this caution has gotten a little bit longer than usual. I was definitely expecting it to be shorter. And as we look beyond that top 10, we see Kyle McCartney, Wayne Hutchison, Earl Weaver, Rob Gall, and Jeff Schmeier rounding out your top 15. And Schmeier, sitting back here in 15th, not usually this deep back in the field at this stage in the race. Schmeier, somebody who usually is very competitive, but he's also pretty patient overall. So we may see him just kind of lurk here in about the middle of the pack and bide his time. But of course, all eyes are going to be on Bentley Glazer here, as those pace truck lights should be turning off this time, and they do. Glazer, of course, your points leader. And as I mentioned earlier in the race, during our open, he did win this race in the fall in season 45 here at Iowa Speedway. So he definitely knows how to get around this piece. He definitely knows what it takes to win here, and hopefully he's kept his notebook from that particular win, as we never like to see people have opposite effects at some of these tracks. Sometimes it's a little bit heartbreaking when you see somebody who does so well in one race at a specific track, and then the next race completely buys the farm. So it's good to see him up front here, as the pace truck is about to dive down pit road in about the next couple hundred yards here, as we get set to go back. Green flag racing. That man in the stand has the green flag in his hand, and Bentley Glazer is crossing the start-finish line, and we are back under green here at Iowa Speedway, lap number 8 of 160, as Glazer gets himself out to just about a half-second lead over Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth himself getting himself out to about 4/10 of a second over Carl Burke. And then we get into a little bit of close quarters traveling here as we head down the back stretch and across the start-finish line out of turn 3 and 4.
Absolutely. Battle hot and heavy right now, though, just inside the top 10, as McCartney and the 28 of Fletcher going hammer and tongs at it right now. Fletcher able to defend on that second lane, and I think that's something we're going to see most of the night here tonight, is that second lane through 1 and 2 is where you absolutely want to be.
Absolutely, and we see guys working this top lane as the low side hasn't gotten a whole lot of grip, as we watch the 18 of Kyle McCartney checking the inside of Will Fletcher. Will Fletcher in that 28 Ford holding him off, and now McCartney's looking to the outside. He'll probably back up here and take a minute to decide where he's going to attack from next. You know, a lot of times these are like mini battles, and sometimes you've got to kind of reform your line, decide where you're going to be the next time you go at him. As the 8 car is down here on the apron, getting ready to come back up onto the racing surface, we're keeping a close eye on McCartney, as it seems like he's just going to hang out. Bob Beltrami in the number 14 Toyota, following Julian Richie in the number 1 Chevrolet, going at it, but Beltrami very patient, biding his time here on lap number 12.
As behind him, McCartney threw it to the inside of Fletcher, coming through 1 and 2, and unfortunately Fletcher able to defend. So right now McCartney just really using up his tires, as Beltrami pulls alongside of Richie on the outside. That is exactly where he wants to try to make that pass. You're able to carry so much more momentum on that high line.
Absolutely, and we're going to take a look here at Bob Beltrami making that pass, as we can see him here on the high side looking at Julian Richie on the low side, and Beltrami just gets himself one heck of a run here.
Beltrami just got himself under the wall off of 4. Battle heating up right now between Barnes and Fuson, right in front of Beltrami. Barnes able to maintain the spot. Beltrami now all over the tailgate of the 11 of Fuson.
And Fuson sitting here in 7th position, and that's what he's defending himself from Bob Beltrami. And we can see Beltrami trying to make the move in here, and we're going to take a look here from Fusan's gearbox, looking back at Beltrami, as we can see him closing in ever so gently, but then backing off a little bit as we head down through to the start-finish line yet again. And, you know, at this point in the race, we're still fairly early, so we're not going to see too much aggression here. At this point, we have Andre Savala, the number 86 Chevrolet, looking to the inside of the number 40 United States Postal Service truck driven by Charles Woods as they cross the start-finish line. It's getting a little hairy here as far as I'm concerned. And for somebody like me who generally likes to kind of hang out and stay out of the line of fire, these guys are definitely firing on all cylinders tonight here at Iowa Speedway.
Yeah, very much so. As the big battle right now for the number 9 spot, that's Julian Richie on the high side, Will Fletcher on the low side. You think Fletcher would have taken a page out of his own book, realizing that he's able to defend. It's 3 wide.
3 wide at Iowa Speedway, going down the backstretch. Who's going to come out in front? But here it is, Julian Richie, with Mccartney going to the inside, hopscotching in front of Will Fletcher, and now he's got Richie right in his sights. But Fletcher's going to be here on the inside of Mccartney, not letting him down to try to get around Richie. Is now Fletcher is going to use that little bit of a pick and let McCartney stay locked up there, as now McCartney drops down to get around Richie.
Absolutely, and all that battling has let the 17 of Wayne Hutchinson really join into this battle, as 2 Toyotas, a Ford, and a Chevy in a slugfest right now for the number 9 spot. As Hutchinson saw what McCartney was able to do, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and he's trying it on Fletcher this time.
And if you're just joining us, we want to welcome you into ESBN. I'm Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso. We are here tonight at the Iowa Speedway for the Western States Racing League Iowa 160. And right now, your race leader, Bentley Glazer, has himself 0.6 of a second lead over Jeff Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth in this number 97 Chevrolet, turning laps, not really closing in yet on Glazer, but as we bring you up to speed, we were just watching Kyle McCartney in a heck of a battle back here that has now seemed to get behind him, as Wayne Hutchison and Will Fletcher now going at it, as Hutchison's getting around Fletcher ever so gently. It seems like maybe Fletcher can't get himself real comfortable in this truck tonight.
Well, the biggest thing they're going to have to worry about is that truck that's creeping up on them ever so quickly. That is the double deuce of Jeff Schmeier, coming in tonight 3rd place in points. And you know as well as I do, he would love nothing better than to get his 2nd win on the season.
Well, and Schmeier's the kind of driver who's going to sit there and let these guys wear themselves out and just walk past him, pick him up, and get out of the way. He is definitely, you don't get to 3rd place in point standings without having a little bit of patience and letting other people make opportunities open for you.
Yeah, very much so, and that's the one thing that we've seen time and time again out of Schmeier, is he knows when it's time to go and he knows when it's time to whoa.
And we want to give a shout out to the Premier Racing Setup Shop, who are now proud partners and sponsors of ESBN, as we bring this race to you tonight from Iowa Speedway in Newton, Iowa on Rusty Wallace Drive. Rusty Wallace, of course, a key player here in the building of Iowa, as here in the Hawkeye State, seems pretty popular since this is one of the top tourist destinations in the state.
Yeah, very much so. As speaking of tourist destinations, we've got a hot and heavy battle for 3rd right now with Burke, Woods, Savalia, and Barnes.
Absolutely, and Barnes is here at the back of this. It almost looks like a diamond pattern as they come through the tri-oval. And Barnes now getting back in line as they go single file. He's chasing down the number 40 of Charles Woods, who's chasing down Andre Savala. These guys are going to be duking it out all night, exchanging blows. But right back here behind Brian Barnes is Bob Beltrami in his number 4 Toyota, as he is now sniffing that rear bumper, trying to loosen up Brian Barnes here as Beltrami
Burke
goes
just
to the
got
high
into the
side.
wall. The 53 of Burke got into the wall going into 1. That's going to let the 86 of Savala get by him. Burke, though, now trying to battle back in that outdoor cast iron cooking number 53. And we do need to thank the folks over at the outdoor cast iron cooking channel on YouTube for allowing us to bring you the action here tonight. Major sponsor of the Western States Racing League. And I'm looking at their site right now, and good grief, there is a lot of goodness that needs to be tried the next time I break out the cast iron.
What do you see tonight? Because every week it seems like you and I are doing nothing but talking about what cast iron cooking is going to be this week and what these two husky fellas are going to eat after the race.
I didn't know you could do that in cast iron.
Uh-oh. What did you find?
Dungeness crab.
Now that sounds... I feel like when you say dungeon, I'm thinking cast iron cauldron.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I haven't looked at the video yet. But you could find them on their YouTube channel, Outdoor Cast Iron Cook, on YouTube. And there are some just amazing recipes on there.
I'll have to have my wife look into the Dungeness crab. Her favorite movie is Hocus Pocus, which, of course, circles around a cauldron. So that'd be right up her alley for dinner tomorrow night, maybe.
And banana nut bread for dessert.
Nothing says I love you like a good banana nut bread.
There you go. But battle's starting to pitter out here at the front. Just as I say that, Mccartney working on the backside of Barnes right now.
And now Mccartney working the inside of Barnes here as we go through turns 1 and 2. Mccartney working this inside, doing his very best, but he just can't get that run that he needs to secure 6th position from Brian Barnes, as he's trying to catch a little bit of a draft maybe off of Beltrami, as he thinks going across the start-finish line, perhaps he can drag himself in front of Brian Barnes, and we're going to see him secure the spot. And now the goal is just to be able to try to squeeze in there. Unfortunately, I don't think he can pick up the side draft off of the 53 Chevrolet of Carl Burke. But he is going to do his best to parallel park that truck right between the two here as we cross the start-finish line again. We have 35 laps complete out of a total of 160 tonight. And Carl Burke riding around here in 5th position, with Mccartney now looking to his inside to see if he can steal that away from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoa, a little bit of contact as McCartney pushed up and got into the left front fender of Burke, and you see a little bit of damage on the 53 as now Barnes able to get by as well. Quick look at some of our big movers here tonight. Bob Beltrami's up 5, McCartney's up 6, Jeff Schmeier's up 6, Paul Crumry is up 6. But the biggest mover so far is the Canadian 42 of Barry Phil. He is up 9. Sitting back in the 24th position.
I was just about to say he's sitting back here in 24th, but to gain 9 positions in just 37 laps, that takes a lot of work. So we know that he's got this wheel turning as hard as he can, and we're going to take a look inside his cockpit and see if he looks comfortable or not tonight. We don't see a whole lot of jostling here. You know, he's not really turning right to keep it from getting loose on him, and he is just logging laps. He's hitting every mark that he needs to as he flutters that throttle going into 3 and 4 and drifts himself out to the wall. He's definitely got that truck dialed in as he's moving up now 10 positions and has now secured 23rd.
As we've got a hot and heavy battle for the 8th spot between Wayne Hutchinson, Dennis Fuson, Jeff Schmeier, and Charles Woods, as they still don't have that one sorted out.
No, and I don't think they're going to sort that one out anytime soon. I mean, that's a lot of fun when you're racing in a little group like that, where you guys can just be trading positions all night long. You're working over each other. But at the same time, especially for the 17 who thought that he was going to be able to start chasing down Carl Burke, has now allowed an almost 1.3 second distance between himself and Carl Burke. So if we get a caution, they'll be able to bunch back up, and maybe the 17 can make a run at the 53. But right now, he might as well just settle in and let Fuson and Schmeier duke it out behind him, as they are side by side now, with the 11 car of Fuson working the low side of Jeff Schmeier in his number 22 Ford, as they are now working the two of them and have now allowed Charles Woods and his United States Postal Service Chevrolet to come up in the third slot there in this three-way battle for 8th and 9th.
Yeah, very much so. Schmeier able to get that one wrestled away from Fuson, as Woods had backslid a little bit, down 6 from where he started, but he's given Fuson all he can handle right now, as Fuson has the last spot in the top 10. Woods wants it badly.
And Woods is going to be working his tail off all night long to try to get that position. These guys in these setups like this have a lot of work to do as far as getting positions, because they are all set up together and identical.
Yeah, that's what you love about a fixed setup league, is the fact that, you know, everybody's playing out of the same toolbox. So you're not being beat by someone that can build a better setup. You're being beat off of pure raw driving talent.
Absolutely, and fixed setups, in my opinion, are a lot of fun to race just for the talent. You can really see where, you know, Bentley Glazer leading here with an 8-second gap. I'm sorry, a 1.3 second gap between himself and Jeff Hollingsworth. He's sitting there with the exact same setup as Darrell Scott in the number 62 Chevrolet. He has just put a lap down. And it just shows the skill that Bentley Glazer has in his number 87 Gatorade Chevrolet, as he has logged now 45 laps and has not given this lead up. And I don't think he plans on giving it up anytime soon.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is, and this is the one thing I love about this Western States Racing League, if you do an average of your top 10 drivers right now in this race, and you take a look at their iRating and then average what it is, you're north of 3,000, which, for those of you not familiar with the iRacing server, that's impressive. If you put this top 10 into a C-Fix open race in the iRacing server, or C-Fix race in the iRacing servers, this would be your top split.
Absolutely, and that top split is something that is highly coveted in iRacing, especially for those of us that usually spend our time in the second, third, and sometimes bottom split, depending on the race where it's at. As we're looking here at Kyle McCartney easily getting around the number 84 of Richard McClure. And McCartney now chasing down Jeff Hollingsworth. And he's closing in on him slowly. He's got about 100th of a second every lap here. So there's still absolutely time as we tick off lap number 49 here at the Iowa Speedway on ESPN. I'm Dave Riegel alongside Tony Trapasso. We are brought to you by the Premier Setup Shop online, and we were just talking about fixed setups versus open setups. Now, the Premier Racing Setups at premierracingsetups.com has one heck of a stable full of builders who they study every car and they study every track, and they manage to build these setups pretty well overall. And you can use these, especially if you're somebody that doesn't have the time to build your own setup or to sit there and tweak your own setup. These guys are more than happy and at your disposal to build something for you, as they are located at premierracingsetups.com online.
And the best thing about them, too, is if you're a league admin looking for a fixed setup for your league, that's a perfect toolbox to go to. And, they're going to have stable setups. They're going to have setups that maybe a little more advantageous in the qualifying trim, but they're going to have a setup that your league is going to be pretty happy with. So definitely a great company to work for and with. As right now the battle hot and heavy for fifth between Beltrami and the 14 and the 4 Brian Barnes, as these guys have been side by side for about the last 2 laps.
And we did just take a look at Daryl Scott, who I'm not really sure what it is. I've already sent a reporter down to find out what's going on with him, as he had jumped to the pits, got off the track in rather quick fashion, and towed out of here, as we see Brian Barnes coming up to kiss the inside there of Bob Beltrami as they go into turn 3, and Brian Barnes resecures that 5th position, as he is only back 1 spot from where he started. And as I look back here, another driver who's done some moving in the wrong direction is Julian Richie, who is down 16 spots and currently racing in the 23rd position. Richie in 23rd, driving the number 1 Chevrolet. Not really sure what's going on there. Maybe a mechanical issue, as he is trying to get around this track as best as he can. It seems like he's bouncing around kind of uncontrollably.
Yeah, unfortunately. But few retirements to speak of so far. Alan Bergen has put it on the hauler. Daryl Scott has put it on the hauler, as has Gary Johnson and Richard McClure. All 4 of those guys did take the green, did basically a start and park, and just decided to just get their points for showing up and getting out of Iowa. Fred Williams and Anthony Reiner did not take the green.
And just in from our pit reporter, Daryl Scott did have a mechanical issue and has decided to park it for the night. So Daryl Scott, with a mechanical issue, has parked it. As we're looking here at the number 53 of Carl Burke, chasing down Dennis Fuson. Dennis Fuson and that Tito's vodka, of course, proudly made
in the USA.
In the USA. If you've got that vodka, have a sip, do a shot, and head down the backstretch, as it looks like Fuson's got himself a pretty good run over Charles Woods now. Oh, correction, over Carl Burke now, as Burke is trying to chase him back down, and they're getting ready to get around yet another lap car. And lap traffic is going to start to be a factor here on lap 58, as we have not had any cautions yet. Of course, now I probably just jinxed it. I guess I should have knocked on wood quick. But,
so you can get your hate mail coming now, folks. That's Dave Regal, care of ESPN, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, P.O. Box OU812.
And one other thing is, if you're just joining us, you are watching the Esports Broadcasting Network on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so that every time we are live, you can get a notification and tune in, as we have races just about every night of the week, Sunday through Saturday.
Absolutely, and we've got a lot of double and triple headers. Tomorrow night, though, the only game in town is going to be the USRA TNT Truck Series, brought to you by TickleZombie.com, as they go round 5 at Milwaukee. And if anyone saw last year's race at Milwaukee, there were a ton of fireworks at the end of that piece.
Actually, I do have to correct you, Tony, and I generally don't have to correct you. You're usually 100% right. But tomorrow night on ESPN, brought to the viewers by you and I, the Way She Goes Racing League.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, that was Thursday. You are correct.
It's not often I'm correct, but I try every now and then. But anyway, the Way She Goes Racing League debuts tomorrow night after last week's little test session there. And we're excited to be bringing that to you. And if you like hanging out with Tony and I watching a race together, we invite you absolutely to tune in. And like I said, subscribe and turn on those bell notifications, and we can hang out together tomorrow night also.
Yeah, very much so. As the other race tomorrow is going to be the Ghost Cup Series, They go to their next round at 9:10 p.m. Eastern. Thursday is the USRA. Friday, we've got another doubleheader for you with the Kool-Aid Monster Next Gen Cup Series and the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series as they go to Talladega. And then Sunday, we have a quadruple header for you. It'll be Mr. Jason Seifert and myself in the booth for the iFormula League. That is a 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time start. And then it'll be Jason and I back in the booth at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the ISNF Cup Series. 7:30 is the Fired Up Racing League and their next round at 7:30 Eastern. And then we close it out Sunday night with the Sunday night NASCAR. That is an 8:30 Eastern Time start.
And Sunday night NASCAR is going to be live from Las Vegas this Sunday, and that proves itself always to be an exciting time. One more thing about the Way She Goes Racing League that comes back tomorrow night. They will be at Auto Club Speedway for 100 laps, and that starts at 9 p.m., as that information was just brought to me. I had a nice conversation today with Kevin Kitzman. He is one of the two owners of the Way She Goes Racing League, and those guys are really excited over there to get moving. And I know that they're only in season 1 and it'll be race 2, but maybe one day we can be talking about them at season 46, just like we are here with the Western States Racing League. And as I mentioned earlier, this is their 40th points race here at Iowa Speedway, which by all accounts, that's impressive, especially to have a league like this that's been together for 46 seasons. That's 23 years. That's pre-iRacing.com.
Correct. And if you search on Spotify for the Sim Racing Media webcast, we actually did a podcast. James Riles and myself met with Bob Beltrami to discuss how this league was able to do 46 seasons. And it was very interesting. And we were able to talk about the history of sim racing and, you know, where we all started our racing careers in the virtual world. You know, it was very interesting to see where everybody kind of started their deals, and the fact that these guys actually started back on the old NASCAR 99 servers, or 98. I'm sorry, NASCAR 98 servers. You know, that's just amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, to myself, being a little bit of a millennial, and when I say a little bit, I mean right smack dab in the middle of being a millennial. It's amazing to me to think of dial-up internet, which I grew up with, being, and we see Bob Beltrami getting Barry Phil down track here, as he has bumped him right out of the way. We'll see if we can't find that for you, folks.
Given it was just one of them racing deals.
Yeah, and a good racing deal is part of every race online. You know, it's not always intentional. It's not always something malicious. A lot of times it's, well, things happen. And I think, especially in a league like the Western States Racing League, there's a lot of things that just happen. There really aren't too many incidents where you can really look at somebody and say, hey, that was intentional, or hey, that was overdriving. These guys, I'm thrilled to watch them every week because they continually work themselves gently in and out, and it's almost a thing of beauty to watch these guys go around the track every week.
Well, if you think the net code is bad now, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are sim racers, this has nothing compared to what it was back on a 56K modem. You heard me right, 56K.
56K. I'm currently running at 1.2 gigabits.
Yeah, I was gonna say not a megabit. K, not M. So the net code was just atrocious, but we did it for the love of the sport. And, like Bob and I were talking during that podcast that you can find again on Spotify, some of the phone bills to dial into some of the web servers, holy cow, it was shell shock the first time you got your phone bill after racing for a week.
Yeah, and it's funny when you talk about phone bills and things. I was listening to the Dale Jr. download a few months ago, and when he had his brother Kerry Earnhardt on, and they were talking about a phone bill. At one time, Dale Jr. and Kerry Earnhardt were sharing a double-wide trailer on Dale Sr.'s property, and Dale Jr., of course, was a sim racer while he was not trying to win Busch Series championships, as they were called then. And they got a $400 phone bill because he was calling Massachusetts from Kannapolis.
The old papyrus servers, yeah. I mean, it was very easy to rack up phone bills in the triple or quadruple digits.
Just taking a look back here at Angelo Espo, who gets himself loose coming out of turn 2 and just noses himself into the wall here on the inside, and he will, of course, jump to the pits and be taking some service there for repair.
Looks like we got some green flag pit stops starting to happen, too. As
is
Dennis
that time.
Fuson peels off in the 11.
And Andre Savala is also in.
There we go.
And we'll start to see these guys come down pit road as Savala comes down, dropping himself out of 9th position as he starts to get ready for 4 tires and some go fast there. And Dennis Fuson also getting service in his number 11 Tito's Vodka Ford.
Well, here's the
Chevrolet,
thing.
I'm sorry.
If these guys can hang out for another 2 to 3 laps, they could make this a one-stop race.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got 80 laps logged so far, and your race leader, Bentley Glazer, has a 2-second lead over Kyle McCartney. And Bentley Glazer is now coming down pit road as he's got to get it slowed way up as he pulls back on the reins of these horses. And Bentley Glazer on pit road as Kyle McCartney is now going to take over the lead. But once these cycles complete, we're going to see Bentley Glazer go back to his position being the Pied Piper of Newton, Iowa tonight.
Well, we got a battle hot and heavy for 3rd place right now as Ryan Steele's up 15 spots, slugging it out with Wayne Hutchinson. Hutchinson up 8 as Steele wrestles 3rd place away from the 17 as Bishop, Weaver, and Campbell all bringing them pit side now as far as lead lap cars go. And it looks like we've got quite a few number of guys here that if this does stay green the rest of the way, they're looking to make it a one-stop race as McCartney, Barnes, Steele, Hutchinson, Beltrami, Baird, and Woods can all make it from here from when they pit. And they better make their decisions pretty quick because here comes the 87 of Bentley Glazer trying to get his lap back the hard way.
Well, and when you say the hard way, after seeing the way that he's been able to tame this track so far, I don't think it's going to be near as hard as we see in other leagues and especially in open races as you're chasing down somebody who may be set up different. As Kyle McCartney is still staying out there, and it looks like he is going to stay out as long as he possibly can. As most of the field looks like they've come in on lap 80. Earl Weaver was in on lap 75 and Carl Burke on lap 65 as your race leader. Kyle McCartney slides himself in to pit road here, and he's going to come down for some new shoes and a tank of Go Fast.
There you go. As Ryan Steele up in the 2nd, Brian Barnes currently showing the way, but you got to wonder how much longer are these guys going to be able to hang it out there, being as you're talking about a 1.5 second difference between their fast lap and what some of these guys who haven't pit yet had turned for their last laps.
Brian Barnes is now on pit road as he is the only driver that I haven't seen slide himself into pit road. That must be a pretty rough transition coming out of turn 4 down onto the apron and into pit road as we see Barnes in and now. And the only drivers who haven't come in yet are Stephen Baird, Wayne Hutchinson, and Ryan Steele. Those three guys, the only ones who haven't come in yet. And now, as I say that, Ryan Steele is making his way down pit.
Oh!
Oh,
There
my!
it is.
I believe that was Bentley, Gary Johnson.
How is that not a caution?
Well, they were on the grass, and I guess that's okay, as the 16 car here just gets it wrong coming out of turn 2 and spins himself around. And we'll take a look here at what happened with David Weaver also. And we see here, looking at David Weaver and his number 20 York Peppermint Patty just ramping himself into the grass off that 72 car and gets himself backed up into the wall. He will definitely have to be coming in to get some repair.
Well, the big question is, what happened to Johnson to be so darn slow? 72?
Well,
that wasn't Johnson.
Let's take a look. No, 16 was Johnson, and he's who got loose coming out of 2, as it looks like the bottom of that car just kind of spun him all the way around. But meanwhile, here at the front of the pack, your race leader is back to being Bentley Glazer here on lap 89, as he is coming out of turn 4, and he's definitely being the Pied Piper of Newton, Iowa tonight, as he logs yet another lap and crosses for lap number 90 now. Folks, we're going to take a moment here, and we're going to step aside and let you turn it up here on ESPN, brought to you by the Premier Racing Setup. Hold that thought, because now my computer just went blank. And
we
the Premier
just went
Racing
under
Setup Shop. And we are under caution, so we're going to take a look at that first.
Steve Baird in the 03.
And we're going to take a look here at it as the 03 just comes into turn 4. He's holding that bottom line, and then all of a sudden it just comes out. I think you're absolutely right, Tony, as that definitely looked like a cold tire kind of incident. But here we are. Now everybody definitely can make it on fuel here going to the end. They'll probably come down, maybe top off a little bit, but I don't think we're going to see too many people. Those guys that pitted early on lap 55 and 65, I feel like we're definitely going to see come in so they can ensure themselves a good finish here. And you are watching us on YouTube. This is the Esports Broadcasting Network, brought to you by the Premier Racing Setup Shop, PremierRacingSetups.com, and ESPN. You can follow and subscribe to us on YouTube. Turn on those bell notifications so you can get a notification every time we're live. Follow us on Facebook, as we are always sharing and making sure that you are getting the best racing entertainment on the internet on iRacing.com and all of the servers here, as you are watching the Western States Racing League 160 at Iowa Speedway in beautiful Newton, Iowa. Your race leader right now is Kyle Mccartney. Mccartney, who's kind of a newcomer to the lead tonight, because up until now, Bentley Glazer had a monopoly on the lead. Glazer currently running in 5th.
And, you know, this is something you see a lot out of Kyle Mccartney. He'll hang back a little bit in that first segment, but the fact that he's up 10 spots right now as we're closing in on the century mark, you know, that's a decent run out of the 18. And in tracks that you normally have to save your tires, McCartney is one of the best at doing that.
Well, and you talk about big movers. Kyle McCartney up 10 positions from where he qualified. Jeff Schmeier running in 2nd position right now. He's going to be on that outside of the front row. In the double deuce Ford, he's up 15 positions. He had qualified 17th and is now running in 2nd position.
Yeah, very much so. And the other one that's a big mover right now, up 12 from where he started, is the number 12 Orion Steele. As Steele and Schmeier started side by side, as looks like the lights are going out on the pace truck, as all those lap cars getting their wave arounds. See a little bit of paint missing off the right side of McCartney's car. So at some point, he's gotten into the wall.
Well, and there's definitely been plenty of dances with the wall tonight, as we'll try to take a look here at the right side of that. Let's see here. There it is, right here on the outside. And we'll be able to take a better look here. It definitely looks like a little bit of a scar there from rubbing that outside wall.
Yeah, absolutely. You see a lot of tire marks on the outside of both turns 2 and 4, and a lot of them just past that, just before the start-finish line. So McCartney, Schmeier, Barnes, Beltrami, Glazer, Steele, Hollingsworth, Burke, Fuson, and Wayne Hutchinson rounding out your top 10. Christian Bishop and Charles Woods rounding out your lead lap cars. As lights go out on the Chevy Silverado pace truck, again, the official pace truck of iRacing. We thank iRacing for letting us use the Silverado on the pavement, as when that first came out as a pace vehicle, you could not use it on pavement tracks, and everybody was not happy about that. But McCartney going to have the button as the field works its way into the 3-4 complex. Stragglers at the back of the field starting to get caught up now, as that pace truck's getting ready to make that hard left turn onto pit road as they come off of turn number 4. Here we go again with McCartney having the button, wastes no time dropping the hammer, and he gets away, and we are back under green.
And as we get underway here again on lap 96, we are going to step aside, let you turn it up, and listen to these race trucks make their way around the Iowa Speedway here on lap number 96 of the Western States Racing League Iowa 160. As we see right here, we're under caution as Keith Kelman seems to have wrapped himself up here, and we will get a little bit of replay here for you in just a moment, and see if we can't sort out exactly what might have just happened here.
Paul Crumry just caught a huge piece of it. I know that.
And we see here,
Where to go?
and we see here Paul Crumry in the 15 right here in the middle of your screen, folks. Gets himself up into the 023 and then collects the 07 to 17 and just buries himself here on the apron.
Looks like the 26 caught a piece of that one too. Christian Bishop. He got into Crumry as Crumry was spinning down to the apron. The 8 gets a little bit sideways. The 17 tags the inside wall on the backstretch. And Yeah, that was ugly with a capital UG.
Well, and that'll give us a chance here to get reset yet again, as now the cautions have come pretty close together overall here at Iowa Speedway with Kyle Mccartney. This is about the third caution in the last 20 laps or so.
Well, it's the old racing adage, cautions breed cautions.
They absolutely do. And here with 60 laps to go, things are going to start to get heated up here. As we had just stepped aside to turn it up, everything kind of broke loose all at once. And now we've got that Chevrolet Pace truck from iRacing.com leading the field across, and he will lead us over for yet another caution lap as everybody's going to try to get themselves reset. Speaking of being reset, let's reset your top 10 here as Kyle Mccartney leads the field in the number 18 Toyota, followed by the Double Deuce Ford of Jeff Schmeier. Bentley Glazer, who led a good portion of this race, running in third right now, followed by Brian Barnes, driving the number 4 Toyota in the fourth position. Jeff Hollingsworth trails him in the number 97 Chevrolet in fifth, Bob Beltrami in sixth, Ryan Steele in seventh, Dennis Fuson in eighth, Carl Burke in ninth, and Wayne Hutchison in the number 17 Toyota. That Tundra he has currently running in 10th position. And quite a few cars laps down now, as the last car on the lead lap is Charles Woods in that number 40 United States Postal Service Chevrolet.
Actually, it's Rob Gall in the 31, the Fujifilm.
Timing just corrected itself.
Well, he was in the pits when you made that announcement, so I wasn't sure if he was or wasn't. But yeah, 13 trucks left on the lead lap.
As Rob Gall is trying to get himself caught back up to the rest of the field, since he was the lucky dog there, he will be at the end of the line. Earl Weaver, if we caught another caution here in the number 46 Nautilus Chevrolet, would be your lucky dog if we get another quick caution here. Take a look here at Kyle Mccartney in the number 18 Toyota behind the Chevrolet Pace truck from iRacing.com. Getting those tires cleaned up a little bit, making sure there's no debris or anything that's going to mess with his traction as he gets ready to take off here in the next lap or so. So far tonight, Tony, it's been one heck of a race. You know, we've seen a couple of lead changes, and Bentley Glazer still lurking here in third. He's going to be starting on the inside line when we go back green as the Chevrolet Pace truck lights are off. And
the thing to keep in mind is Glazer and Hollingsworth, under the last caution, went down pit road to get fresh tires put on those trucks. So the tire advantage right now has to go to the 87 and the 97.
Absolutely. And those two trucks back there, the 87 and the 97, running in fifth and fourth. Geez, now my whole screen is shifting.
Third and fifth.
Third and fifth. My goodness. Gotta love technology. It's so useful, but at the same time, it starts to mess with you.
Yay, I got mail.
Yeah, exactly. And as we are here on ESPN, we're watching Jeff Schmeier and Kyle Mccartney on the front row getting ready to go back. Green flag racing, that green flag waving wildly in the air by that man in the flag stand as McCartney takes off, but Bentley Glazer is on his inside working the low side of him as he is going to fall into line behind McCartney and get a nice little arrow push here from the Double Deuce. And that 22 of Schmeier now on the high side as Glazer is trying to hold off Jeff Schmeier and Jeff Hollingsworth. A pair of Jeffs gets himself around McCartney. McCartney in the number 18 Toyota with that snap-on paint scheme there gets himself through and settled
McCartney
in.
with the oldest set of tires in the top 5 right now as well. Or sorry, Schmeier with the oldest set of tires in the top 5. Yo,
shoots down as they're all trying to run around McCartney, and they hang McCartney out to dry on the outside.
Oh, he got into the wall coming under the flag stand.
Exactly. He seems to have gotten himself slowed up a little bit, so he's going to have to take some time here and regroup as Beltrami now working the inside of him. Beltrami sniffing Ryan Steele's back bumper, going back to the start-finish line for lap number 109.
And the biggest thing that we haven't touched on it yet here tonight, but these trucks punch such a big hole in the air. It's very easy to get into dirty air, and you have absolutely no control over the front of your truck when that happens. As Mccartney gets his head of steam back, working the Steele right now, as he slots in between Beltrami and Steele. They're going to have to get that one sorted out pretty darn quick, because right now Glazer and Hollingsworth are just walking away from this battle for third.
Absolutely, and I'm still keeping a close eye on Mccartney, who says he will not be put to bed early tonight in Iowa, as we're about to go 3 wide here with Christian Bishop moving on the inside of Beltrami. And now we're 3 wide with the 11 car of Dennis Foussan on the top side, as they are battling it out here from 6th through 9th. This whole little knot of cars letting the number 4 car of Brian Barnes and 22 of Jeff Schmeier get a little bit of distance there, as Schmeier's working the high side over Barnes.
Absolutely, and we got to thank everybody that is watching right now. I see 14 of you checking out the YouTube stream as we speak. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, because it really helps with the YouTube algorithm to try to share this video with the masses. And as well as that, you can also share this video on your social media feeds by hitting that share button. And if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, because we have racing just about every night of the week. Most of the time, it's going to be double headers and triple headers. Almost every night of the week, at least 2 races a night. And then we've also got a quadruple header on Sunday nights. So you're going to want to not miss a single moment of action by subscribing and turn on bell notifications, as the season's starting to ramp back up after taking a break, as we are 3 wide for third.
And these guys are absolutely exchanging blows, as we see Mccartney here working to the inside of Christian Bishop in the number 26 Chevrolet. As Bishop is up on the top side following Schmeier, Mccartney gets himself in line, and geez, on Christmas, it looks like Beltrami got one heck of a run on Mccartney. And then the 11 car poking his nose in there, driven by Dennis Foussan, also gets himself sucked up into that checkup, as Foussan now sniffing the back bumper of Mccartney.
But right now, Barnes wrestling third spot away from Schmeier, as here comes Bishop to the inside of the Popsicle Toyota. Making it happen on the low lane is the 26 drag race. Down the back straightaway, Barnes on the high side, Bishop on the low side. Barnes going to be able to carry more speed off, as Bishop uses what we refer to on the dirt side of things as the slider line, gets up in front of Barnes and wrestles the third spot away from him. This battle is far from over.
Absolutely, and we see Christian Bishop, who's up 12 positions here, who had qualified 15th, now safely running in third. But when I say safely, I mean that's very tentative, as they're basically sitting on top of a seesaw, and they're going back and forth here, which is exciting to watch, especially if you're watching Brian Barnes. Give us a shout. Make sure that you're there in the live chat. Tell us who you're pulling for. Let us get them on screen here, as Barnes and that Popsicle Toyota has now fallen into line with Mccartney and Christian Bishop in front of him. And folks, as Tony was just saying, we do have a lot of programming on ESPN and Sim Racing Media. And one of the exciting things is our new league that is debuting its regular season tomorrow night is the Way She Goes Racing League, which your guys here, Tony and myself, will be in the broadcast booth for, and we'll be coming to you live from Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. And Tony, I'm pretty excited about working with you.
Oh, absolutely. Those guys put on an amazing show at Daytona last week. And we go to the 2-miler in Fontana next week, or tomorrow night. And, you know, if what we saw last week at Daytona is any indication of what we're going to see at Fontana, count me in for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. They are getting themselves organized and ready to rock and roll, and that whole league seems very excited, and they pride themselves on being a diverse league, from top to bottom. Whoa! As McCartney washes up toward the 4 car, Brian Barnes, and Barnes almost drifts himself into that 16 car of Gary Johnson, as Gary Johnson and his Chick-fil-A Chevrolet. I'm going to say that several times tonight now.
Let's not and say we didn't, because the chicken sandwich sucks.
You really think that? Are you a Popeyes guy? You're a Popeyes
No.
guy, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Really? See, I
Nope,
kind of like their chicken sandwich. The pickles do it for me.
No.
Well, I was first introduced to Chick-fil-A about 15 years ago, and I mean, I don't sit in that long drive-through line, but
I'm actually a Church's Chicken fan.
all right, so
Which, if anybody from Church's, if anyone from Church's Chicken is watching this broadcast, y'all need to get a restaurant in Central New York near Syracuse.
So educate me, oh wise one. What is Church's Chicken?
It's a fast food chicken restaurant.
And I've never been.
I found them when I was living in Columbus, Ohio, and I liked it. It's some of the best fast food chicken that I have found so far.
Well, the next time I'm in Columbus, Ohio, I'll have to go check that out. Actually, there's a place right outside of Toledo I'd like to go visit, so I can try to tie those things together.
Yeah, sure, why not?
My wife will be thrilled. It'll be a fantastic trip.
Oh, absolutely. And while you're there, you can swing by the Jegs main store and check out some of the the leading mail order company in the nation for high performance parts. You can check out the store that started it all.
And while we're thinking about Ohio, Jegs, chicken, and cereal, Bentley
And
Glazer.
Suboxone.
Yeah, well, that's fair also. As long as you're happy. Bentley Glazer in the number 87 Chevrolet has opened himself up a 2 1/4 second lead over Jeff Hollingsworth in the number 97 Chevrolet, as Glazer is nice and comfy up here and getting ready to chase down Rob Gall next in line.
Well, the guys that aren't comfortable right now is your battle for sixth. Schmeier, Fuson, Beltrami, the 53 of Carl Burke, Charles Woods are all right there with each other.
And I'll tell you what, these 4 guys tonight have been banging against each other. Not really literally, but figuratively. Have been banging against each other, door handle to door handle, all night long. And they've almost been running in this diamond fashion with Beltrami leading the way right now, holding off the double deuce and the 11, for those of you trying to follow the square root numbers. And quite frankly, I can't see a moment where either the 11 or the 22 can get around Beltrami, who is just leading this little pack here in 6th position. As now, of course, as I say that, it's like a jinx. Busan making a run toward the inside of Beltrami, and now he says he wants to lead this diamond pack.
Well, they're going to have to get this one sorted out pretty quick because they are fast losing ground to the 4 of Barnes. As Barnes is starting to give up a little bit of ground to the 18 of McCartney in 4th. And they've got another 1.5 seconds before they catch the 26 of Christian Bishop.
And not only are they fast losing ground, but they're also fast running out of time, as we are about to complete lap 129, and now we are on lap number 130 out of 160 here at the Iowa Speedway. If you're just joining us, you picked a good time to tune in here on ESPN, the Esports Broadcasting Network. I'm Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso, and we are brought to you by the PremierRacingSetups.com iRacing setup shop. And tonight, setup's not really an issue, as we are watching a fixed setup league tonight. Fixed setups being everybody set up the same way. You get the same number of tires, you have the same shocks, the same springs, the same rebounds, same everything. The only thing that's different is the guy behind the wheel. So you're watching guys basically weightlifting, but in a truck. And we take a look, as I've been exploring the Premier Racing Setup shop, and they have all kinds. I mean, from oval to dirt oval, dirt road, and road. The oval setups, which of course we would be focusing on tonight if this was an open setup league, they have the 87 car, next gen, last year's Cup car, the Xfinity truck, Tour modified, SK modified. Basically, for everything on iRacing, they have themselves a setup for, and they have a whole stable full of setup builders from Richard Murtaugh to Tyron Herbert, Cristiano, Derek Nichols. Just a really good group of guys over there at PremierRacingSetups.com.
Absolutely, and we got to thank our league sponsor, Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking Channel, as they're checking in the live chat saying, "Go Carl Burke." And, I'm checking out their YouTube channel, which after this race is over, go ahead and check them out. Citrus Raspberry Coffee Cake.
Oh my God, my pancreas just called 911.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm also looking at their website, and I see, and this is delicious, and since we're in Iowa, pigs in a cornfield.
I saw that.
I mean, there is some really creative cast iron cooking recipes on here, and of course it's all designed for outdoor cast iron cooking. And pigs in a cornfield just really trips my trigger tonight, along with seafood chowder, fried abalone.
Catfish stew.
Catfish stew, that sounds like a rocker from the 70s.
I know, right? And Brazilian black bean and beef. So I think my cast iron is going to turn my stomach into cast iron by the time I'm done, because it's going to get a workout this coming next couple of weeks.
Growing up in Pennsylvania Dutch country, for me, it's all about pineapple upside-down cake. I don't even know how the Pennsylvania Dutch found pineapples, but the pineapple upside-down cake in my grandmother's cast iron pan was always, just spot on. Delicious.
Absolutely is. Some of the Pennsylvania Dutch, the Amish over there, just amazing cooks. There's an all-you-can-eat buffet just outside of Reading.
So that is the Shady Maple Smorgasbord, which I was I was legitimately just at last Monday. It was my wife's birthday, and on your birthday, if you show ID, and show up with somebody who's paying full boat,
You eat free.
You eat for free. And it's actually in Terry Hill, right off of Route 10, south of Reading. And it's a mile of food, 5,280 feet. It's delicious. And it's reasonably priced, too.
And you can't leave there without getting one of those giant whoopie pies.
Oh, a good whoopie pie. Actually, I'm a huge fan of the baked French toast. It's amazing.
Yes. And in case you're wondering, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we are two fluffy guys up here in the broadcast booth.
Yes, I'd like to call myself the honorary president of the FDA, the Future Diabetics of America. I'm just patting my office. As we are looking here at Kyle Mccartney, who's desperately trying to catch Bentley Glazer, who has opened himself up a nearly 4.5 second lead as he gets around the one car of Julian Richie. Richie down a couple of laps here in the late goings with 20 to go at the Iowa Speedway. And as we have 20 to go, we are going to step to the side and allow you guys to just enjoy this race, turn it up, and enjoy the show.
And we are go ahead.
And we are back here at the Iowa Speedway on ESPN. I'm Dave Riegel alongside my good friend Tony Trapasso, bringing you all the action here as we're taking a look at the number 11 car of Dennis Fuson, rolling around right now in the 7 position, chasing down Bob Beltrami. Your race leader, however, is Bentley Glazer, and he has had command of the field for most of this night as Glazer has built himself a 4.5-second lead. It's almost like he can't be stopped. The only thing that could really scare him right now would be a late caution, as we are 9 laps to go on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to ESPN Sim Racing Media, turn on those bell notifications, and we are brought to you by PremierRacingSetups.com. And you can go there and look for all of your setup needs across the spectrum of iRacing cars and tracks. Tony, what do you think here with 8 laps to go? Are we going to see too much of a change here with our leader?
I think we're going to need a miracle for McCartney to catch Glazer, as he's just over 4.25 seconds to the good over the 18. As McCartney's starting to pull a little bit of a gap on Bishop right now. And Bishop is about 1.5 seconds to the good over 4th place Jeff Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth caught the wall somewhere, as Brian Barnes working his way around the 97 right now. As we are going to be 6 to go this time across the stripe for your leader, Bentley Glazer. He's got lap traffic racing for position in front of him.
And Barnes and Hollingsworth going at it like a couple of dogs in a yard, as Barnes is now working the outside here with that number 97 driven by Jeff Hollingsworth working the inside, trying to get enough momentum, but just can't pull it off. And right now, Hollingsworth hoping he can get a little bit of a draft off the 24 car, who is lapped and down a little bit here, driven by Javier Perez-Torres, as Perez kind of makes a low move here and slows up Hollingsworth, which allows Brian Barnes to get himself a little bit of cushion here as he's trying desperately to chase down Christian Bishop for that podium in 3rd position with 4 laps to go now at the Iowa Speedway.
Yeah, Glazer, just a dominating performance here tonight. Clinches most laps led, and that is definitely going to help his stake at the championship here. Ryan Steele, who came in tonight tied with Glazer for the points lead, mired back in 9th position, kind of on an island all by himself, as he's 2.5 seconds to get to Wayne Hutchinson in front of him, and he's about 0.75 seconds to the good over the double deuce of Jeff Schmeier, who came into tonight 3rd in points.
And Schmeier currently running in 10th. He's up 7 positions from where he started. But your big mover tonight is Christian Bishop, running in 3rd position right now. Nice and comfy there, with about 2.4 seconds ahead of him to Kyle McCartney, and about 0.75 seconds back to Brian Barnes, as he is going to get himself, if we stay green here with 2 laps to go, a nice podium finish. And with 2 to go, we're going to keep an eye on Bentley Glazer as he is navigating through some lap traffic here. The 42 getting up to the high side. We see that white flag waving in the air as Bentley Glazer working the inside, keeping it steady as he gets around the lap cars of the 42, and he's probably not going to get around the 31. But one more time, he's going to come through turn 3. That flag handler there in the stand is about to unfurl that checkered flag that Bentley Glazer captures as he crosses the start-finish line here in the Western States Racing League, Iowa 160. Your race winner, Bentley Glazer, with a comfortable win, who has absolutely dominated this race from the drop of the green flag earlier tonight.
Absolutely. As Kyle McCartney gets into it with Jeff Hollingsworth after the checkered flag flies, apparently those two not happy with each other.
And we see Bentley Glazer coming here to do his victory celebration right in front of the flag stand, noses himself into the outside wall, and now he's going to set himself up to burn out for these fans who have waited all night to see who was going to come home with the checkered flag, as Bentley Glazer now doing some donuts here on the infield. Tony, he has absolutely earned this win tonight here in the Fixed Setup League of WSRL. And we're going to be able to talk to him in just a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're just waiting for these guys to... You've noticed that too, huh?
Yeah, I don't see any of these guys in the Discord chat. I mean,
They'll get there momentarily. As we are waiting for them, again, Hollingsworth and Mccartney not happy with each other. So while we're waiting for, I was going to say, let's start in reverse order of how we normally do this. And we are going to talk to the ESPN driver of the night, biggest mover of the event in his first race that I can recall with the Western States Racing League. Congratulations on the podium, Chris Bishop.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, first truck race. I made the Friday Cup race this past week, but didn't go as well as this.
Well, you definitely were very strong here tonight at Iowa. Talk us through just how bad it could get at times with the tire wear.
So coming out of 4, it gets really tight. Once you get, I was looking at my tires. I think I got down into the 40s at the end of the really long run in the middle of the race. So yeah, you get really tight coming out of 4, and you just can never get on the gas. And I saw a lot of people just throw it up into the wall right there, or get loose because they just they had to wait so long, they just threw full throttle into it and let it up. So yeah, it ended up being a big part of the race without the green flag runs. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. But we completely change gears next week as we go to, come on, work with me here. We go to the dirt track at Knoxville. Hold on. Dave, please don't do that. We change gears next week as we go to the dirt track. Staying in Iowa, mind you, we're going to Knoxville. What are your thoughts going into the dirt race next week?
I'm really looking forward to it. I love me some dirt oval in pretty much anything. So it should be a lot of fun. Knoxville's a really great track. It's a lot of fun in the wing sprints, but it should be kind of chaos, but fun chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. But, Christian, you know as well as I do, these trucks don't really like the dirt, and that flat half mile in Knoxville, that's going to be a fun one. Do you think we're going to see anybody put it into the Hall of Fame just outside too?
Oh, for sure. I think the question is how many.
Good answer. Well, sir, in your first race, getting the biggest mover award, ESPN driver of the night, who do you need to thank for this podium finish tonight?
I'd like to actually thank my teammates, Space Sheep Racing, who, when times get tough, everybody sticking together and having a fun space to race has been a lot of fun. And also WSRL for putting this on, It's great to have a really big field that can go for such long periods of time on green flag runs. It's not super common that you find that on iRacing, so tons of fun. Thanks to them for putting it on.
All right, Christian Bishop, again, congratulations on the podium. We'll see you next week in Knoxville.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
So that was our third place finisher. And I believe you've got second place with you now, Dave.
I absolutely do. Kyle Mccartney. Heck of a performance tonight as you tried to take home that checkered flag after one of our caution restarts. And how'd the truck feel tonight?
Oh, the truck was good. Actually, first of all, Bob Beltrami wanted me to tell hi to everybody since how he didn't make the top 3. But anyways, the truck was good tonight. Really good on long runs. And, yeah, the truck was great until I had to pretty much nailed the truck into the wall in the last restart to avoid Hollingsworth. So, but it is what it is. So at least I got back up to second.
Yeah, absolutely. We were taking a look there. We were trying to figure out where you would rub the wall because we had seen that your paint was rubbed off. But overall, you still had a fantastic run tonight there as you gained 9 positions and finished there second place on the podium in that number 18 Toyota. And would you like to shout anybody out tonight?
Yeah, we'll give a shout out to Bob Beltrami for running the WSRL league. He does a great job week in, week out. And tonight was no exception. I don't know. We had 30 some trucks, so that was pretty cool with only a couple cautions. And shout out to you guys in the booth. You guys do a great job every week. It's always fun to watch. I can't race with you guys, so thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. We appreciate being able to watch you. I mean, this league is such a blast to sit here in the booth and just observe, and it's definitely a lot less stress as we're watching you guys stress it out lap after lap. And you guys had some really fantastic green flag runs tonight. And looking forward to next week at Knoxville Dirt. How do you feel about it?
Well, honestly, I don't know. I haven't done any laps actually in the truck at all on dirt. I have run a few races at Knoxville, and it's a fun track, but we'll just have to wait and see how it goes next week. So, but yeah, the long runs here too were a lot of fun, and if we could do Iowa every single week, I'd be happy with that too.
Absolutely. Well, sir, congratulations on your second place run. We are going to let you get back to it. And Tony, I believe you have Bentley Glazer waiting in the wings here, our race winner.
Absolutely. Bentley Glazer is one of the most dominating performances we have seen in a long time. Starting from the pole, leading the most laps, coming home with the checkered flag here at Iowa. Talk us through just how difficult it was at times to weave yourself through the lap traffic.
Lap traffic was really tough tonight, and yeah, it made for a really interesting race for sure. And Kyle was faster than me on the long run. I just happened to catch the cautions right at the right time.
Well, we saw you and your teammate Hollingsworth were a couple of the only drivers under that, I believe it was the second caution flag we had shortly after the round of green flag pit stops. You and Hollingsworth were the only two that came down pit road to put new tires on.
Yeah, that was a big decision, and just how we were racing tonight, I felt like we could have a long run there, so it was worth. I pitted on lap 80, so I had about 10 laps on those tires, so they were a pretty fresh set to get rid of, but it was worth it. We still have another one.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely was worth it. You finished this piece with a 2.15 second gap. That's pretty much unheard of at the 0.88 mile Iowa Speedway. But Bentley, we go to a race that last season when we went to a dirt track, you struggled just a little bit. We go to Knoxville, Iowa next week.
Yeah, I'm put a little practice in for that. It'll be fun, that's for sure. Hopefully we have some green runs in it. Should be fun.
Absolutely. Well, Bentley, who do you need to thank for bringing that Gatorade number 87 Chevy Silverado home in victory lane?
Thanks to the Western States Racing League, and thanks to OGR, and thanks for broadcasting. All
right, Bentley, congratulations on your victory here tonight. Hopefully you can continue this momentum next week at Knoxville.
10-4, thank you.
Well, Dave, we got another one in the books, and we kind of had it figured during the hot lap session that, especially definitely after qualifying, that it was going to be situation normal. Pied Piper being handed to the 87 again.
Absolutely, and Bentley Glazer winning from the pole, being able to hold the field off, and of course also being able to lead the most laps. I mean, the only reason that he didn't lead laps tonight was, of course, during pit cycles, and due to the length of the track, I mean, pit cycles were almost nil going into lap number 80 when we'd finally had a minute to breathe as these guys came down pit road. And I mean, it was just from top to bottom a really good race tonight. However, there were here at the end, there were only 13 cars on the lead lap, led, of course, by Bentley Glazer, followed by Kyle McCartney in second. Christian Bishop in the number 26 Chevrolet, your third place podium finisher, followed by Brian Barnes in his Popsicle number 4 Toyota. Jeff Hollingsworth in fifth, Bob Beltrami, Dennis Fuson, Wayne Hutchison, Ryan Steele, and Jeff Schmeier rounded out our top 10.
Charles Woods hanging on for 11th. Carl Burke in 12th. 13th going to Rob Gall, the last truck being scored on the lead lap. Eric Woods, first truck 1 lap down in 14th. 15th going to Earl Weaver. James Campbell in 16th. Javier Perez Torres in 17th. Paul Crumry 18th. Timmy Bates and Andre Sabella rounding out your top 20.
And finishing in 21st tonight was Barry Phil in his number 42 Toyota, followed by David Weaver in 22nd. Julian Richie, who seemed to be struggling most of the night there, lost 16 positions. If we had a biggest mover up, he would be one of the larger movers down. Keith Kelman in 24th, Dave Rudd in 25th, Sam Johnson, Richard McClure, and Scott Kukas driving the number 9 Toyota in 28th, Stephen Baird in 29th, and Gary Johnson rounding out your top 30. Actually didn't change positions. He started in 30th, he finished in 30th in that number 16 Chevrolet. Finishing out the field, Jeffrey Schloss in the 023 Toyota, followed by William Fletcher, who lost 22 spots in this race to finish 32nd. 33rd in Angelo Espo in the 136 Chevrolet. Darrell Scott in the number 62 finishes 34th. Alan Bergen, Fred Williams, and Anthony Reiner finishing in 37th. Fred Williams and Anthony Reiner not turning a single lap tonight, so that was a start in park for them. As we wrap things up here at Iowa Speedway, it was one heck of a race tonight. It was very clean. I was extremely impressed with all of the green flag runs that we had. Got a little hairy there toward the end, but I mean, that's what happens when the temperature gets turned up and the laps get turned down. As we're looking ahead now to Knoxville Dirt for next Tuesday night at 10:15 on ESPN. These guys will be gathering around. They haven't decided how many laps it's going to be yet, but whether it's going to be 1 lap or 100 laps, I can almost guarantee from the broadcast booth that it's going to be exciting.
Well, with any luck, we're going to see some heat race action next week. As normally on the dirt side of things, you run heat races to, make the main. You set your qualifying time, and then heat races determine who's moving on to the big money race, and hopefully that's what we're going to see next week. But trucks on a dirt track, always a fun time. But I dare say that is going to do it for us tonight here from Iowa. Bentley Glazer coming home with the victory again. That is his. And come on. Why is my computer running so slow? That is his 4th win on the season. 4 poles, 4 wins. And that is going to wrestle the points lead away from Ryan Steele. But that is going to do it for us here tonight. We got to again thank our friends over at Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking for sponsoring the Western States Racing League. For Mr. Dave Regal, this is Tony Trapasso reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, that as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.